You are watching Reflections on Reality, presented by Kanchi.
So why do we need a guru? First thing is, everybody needs a guru, and guru, it is mistaken that guru is a person. See, I've spoken about this in another video on my channel called Guru's Grace. I've gone in depth on how to identify a guru, but I'll tell you briefly. Guru is not the body. Guru can appear in the body, but guru is not just another person. He's not just an individual, right? So when Ramana Maharshi, so I'll tell you how Ramana Maharshi found who is Ramana Maharshi's guru. Arunachala mountain itself is Ramana Maharshi's guru. And how did he hear about Arunachala? How did he first hear about it? See, when he was a child, a relative of his, one of his uncles or somebody had visited Arunachala Kshetra. So this uncle, when he came home, this relative declared, he was talking to his family and he said, yeah, I had gone to Arunachala. It was a very simple conversation. But just hearing the word Arunachala, Bhagwan's, as he was a child, he was maybe 12-year-old, 14-year-old, his mind went into exaltation. He got so excited just to hear the name Arunachala. Because till then he had heard the name, but he did not know that you can go to Arunachala and come. See, like Vaikunta. If someone says, I've gone to Vaikunta and come, Vaikunta is the resting place of Mahavishnu. It's the abode of Mahavishnu. So if I tell someone I went to Vaikunta and I've just come back from Vaikunta, it is very exciting for an ordinary person, right? For anybody. Similarly, when he heard Arunachala, that somebody could go there, visit and come, he was, his mind went into exaltation. He was excited to know that such a place can be visited and you can even come back from there. So that is how first that whole, his first contact with Arunachala happened. So first thing is we don't need a physical guru. In Bhagwan's case, Arunachala mountain was his guru. Right. Similarly, there is a saint in Tamil Nadu called Ramalinga Swami. See, Ramalinga Swami used to meditate or used to worship Jyoti. Jyoti is the divine light. Right? He used to worship Jyoti and he used to consider Jyoti only as his guru. Right? So similarly, it's not necessary that you need to have a physical guru next to you to attain realization. But a guru is necessary. If a physical guru is available, well and good. Guru will provide you with a foundation for self-realization. What is the foundation for self-realization? The right technique, the right method for self-realization. If you are on the Gnana Marga, what is the right way to think? Let's say I'm doing self-inquiry. What is the right method to do self-inquiry? Only a guru can teach you how to attain, how to do self-inquiry. It is especially true if you're on the Kundalini Marga or the Tantric Marga, or you're doing like, even Hatha Yoga. There are certain things where you can hurt yourself very badly if you don't have a guru correcting you at all times. Even Pranayama. See, even Prana, there's something called Prana Upasana. I'll talk about it in another video, but Prana Upasana is meditation or dhyana on the prana. So if you don't do this well, it is very likely that you can hurt yourself. So there are some shastras or there are some, hidden things, some hidden upasanas, some methods which you should not do without the physical presence of a guru. You should not do these things. Even tantric sadhana, right? And some people want to meditate on bija mantras. Bija mantras also, without initiation, nobody should do. Nobody should meditate on bija mantras. You should not do. It's not that they are very powerful and Panchakshari is not powerful. Not like that. See, Panchakshari is powerful. There are thousands and thousands of sadhakas who have attained themselves. See, so many people have attained communion because of Panchakshari. Panchakshari is Om Namah Shivaya. So some people think, okay, Bija Mantra, they are telling don't do it. It must be more powerful than Panchakshari. Or maybe it's more powerful than Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? Not like that. There are hundreds of mantras, but these kind of mantras, Panchakshari, and even Om Namo Narayana. These things most people can do. Most people can do without any harm. The harmful side effects are very barely anything. If you do it wrongly only, it can hurt you. Whereas Bija Mantras, it is very specific energy. So let's say we are doing Ram, 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 which is the Bija Mantra for Agni. You are activating, invoking Agni in your body. Right? So if you already have a Pitta dosha, Pitta dosha is you already have excess heat in the body, or your Agni in the body is not, the fire element in your body is not balanced, you could hurt yourself very badly. That is why Bija Mantra should not be practiced without the help of Guru. Not that it is so powerful, it will give you something immediately. It's not like that. It should not be practiced because it is very specific. See, for example, when we have a fever, we'll get over-the-counter medication for fever, and 90% of the people in the world can take those over-the-counter medication without major side effects. But there is something called cancer medication. Not everybody should take that, right? Because of this reason, Bija Mantras should be practiced after spiritual initiation. Kundalini yoga, you can very badly harm yourself if you're doing Kundalini yoga, if you're activating chakras without spiritual initiation. There are certain shastras, certain methods, bandhas. People put the mula bandha. Improper mula bandha can harm you. Even in my case, see, because before I was I did not have any guru. I have tried because I am like a curious cat. I have done everything in the under the sky, whatever you name it, I have done, and I have harmed myself many times. Luckily, I'm still here. There was a time when I studied about the Mahabandha. Mahabandha is Jalandhara, Uddiyana, and Mulabandha. So basically, you close this and you close your, there are certain things I don't want to go into detail, but basically, you apply three locks in the body. And I applied these three locks successfully. But one mistake I did was my asana was wrong. So there is a very specific asana to sit in when you're doing Mahabandha. My asana was wrong. My consciousness, like immediately I lost consciousness, or I got absorbed, you can say, and I hit my head. And my bad luck or good luck, I don't know, there was a very sharp edge of a bench behind me. I hit that bench, and there was some glass objects nearby that broke, that fell down. So I don't know how long I was had lost consciousness for. And when I woke up with a swelling on the back of my head, right? And there was some glass pieces all around me. All this because I tried to do Mahabandha. It is all these three locks without initiation. So, from experience, I will tell you, please don't do these things if you are not initiated. Kundalini yoga, tantra, prana upasana. See, pranayama also is putting your hand in the mouth of a lion, like counting the teeth of a lion. It is very sukshma, it is very subtle. You cannot play around with pranayama. People think even anuloma viloma I can do very easily, but there are very exact measurements for anuloma viloma, right? So there is how much you should do nadi shodhana, how to put locks when you are doing pranayama, what mantras to say, because these things are all, they can harm you very bad. Prana is something very subtle. It is the life force, right? So if you mess it up, you will create diseases in the body, not just death or something bad, mental issues also. I know so many people who have meditated excessively, increase their pitta. So when your pitta increases, suddenly your anger increases. They are not able to control their anger. And there are some people who their type of meditation is very wrong. So their vata increases. And vata increases, suddenly they have, instead of becoming calm and peaceful, their anxiety levels have gone up. They're very afraid, they're anxious all the time. Because without the guidance of a proper guru. See, first thing is you don't have guidance of a proper guru, then all the problems arise. Second thing is they think too much of themselves. See, we overestimate our prowess. We think we are better than we know, right? So when you meditate, a lot of people, they ask me why we should not meditate on Agna Chakra. This is the reason, because Agna Chakra is already so heavily activated in this day and age because of our device usage and the levels of anxiety in general public. that when you start, focusing and meditating on your Agna Chakra, it is very likely that you will, create more damage. So there are a lot of mental imbalances happening. This is why initiation from a guru is most necessary. So there is a very popular story of, see, when we think of guru disciple in India, it is embedded in our mind. When you think of guru disciple, a couple of names that come in, right? One of those things from the last couple hundred years is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda. See, who is the ideal disciple? Swami Vivekananda. When we look at a ideal sadhaka, ideal spiritual seeker, we look at Vivekananda and say it's an inspiration for so many people. There are so many people who look at Swami Vivekananda and say, you know, he's a spiritual stud, right? We want to be like him. We aspire to be like him, right? So, and obviously Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was his guru. He initiated Vivekananda into the spiritual path. For that, I think he was part of Brahma Samaj or Arya Samaj, something like that. He was almost borderline atheist. He was not interested in these spiritual things, or he did not believe in these spiritual things. In fact, he tested Ramakrishna Paramahamsa quite a bit, because he was not sure whether Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was actually what he expresses himself to be. Right? He did not believe that this was a divine being. Right? So the story is, Vivekananda asked Paramahamsa, "Can you show me God?" Right? And the story is that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gave him an experience of God, gave him an experience of Brahman. Right? So this is like, you can say, this has become a foundational stone in a lot of spiritual seekers' lives. So everybody hopes, we all aspire that one day we'll also meet our guru who will touch us and say, okay, here is your experience of God. So Paramahamsa, so Vivekananda asked Paramahamsa, "Can you show me God?" And Paramahamsa touched him. The story goes, 3 days he was, lost in bliss, lost in that absorption, and wherever he saw Brahman. Right? So similarly, with even Ramana Maharshi, there's a popular story. It was told by UG Krishnamurti. See, we are not sure whether this story is authentic, or there are no records of UG Krishnamurti having gone to Ramana Ashram, but he has spoken about it. We have to take this to be truth. So story goes that UG Krishnamurti is also a philosopher who lived in Switzerland. He's a very interesting personality altogether. So he had gone to meet Bhagwan when in his younger days. So when he went to meet Bhagwan, he saw that Bhagwan was sitting in the kitchen and cutting vegetables early in the morning. I think it was onions or something like that he was cutting. So UG Krishnamurti was like, how can this man who is cutting vegetables in a kitchen have any, give me any experience of enlightenment or anything? But because he had traveled all the way, he anyway took the plunge and he went and sat with Bhagwan and he asked him, he said, Maharshi, I've heard that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gave the experience of self-realization to Vivekananda by the touch of his hands. Can you give me enlightenment? Right? He asked him, can you give me enlightenment? So he questioned him, can you do it? Bhagwan is a very simple person and he had a sense of humor about things also. Bhagwan asked UG, it's like, I can give you enlightenment, but can you take it? So he said, I can give you enlightenment, but can you take it? Right? So this question kind of disturbed UG Krishnamurti, because he's a philosopher. Already he was a philosopher. He was with J. Krishnamurti and the Theosophical Society. So he considered himself to be an intellectual. So he felt, why can't I take it? This old man is sitting in a village in Tamil Nadu and is asking whether I have the capacity to receive it. Why I cannot receive it? And he got angry with this question. The story goes that he left, that he went away. But many years later, that same question, that arose in my mind also. Who am I? Who am I? This arose in him in Switzerland. The story is this question, and the questioner disappeared and he attained the self. It is UG Krishnamurti attained the self. Right? So now coming back to the sense of, can you receive it? See, because not everybody is Vivekananda. Vivekananda at that time was a ripened soul. He was not an ordinary soul. Ramakrishna himself used to say that Vivekananda is one of the Saptarishis. Paramahamsa had predicted that one of the Saptarishis is going to take birth on this earth, and he was waiting for him. In fact, he would go on top of the terrace. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would go on top of the terrace and scream, "Where are my children? Where are my children? Where are my disciples?" So that was his craving to help his disciples, to help the disciples who did not even know that they were going to be his disciples. But Paramahamsa, of course, knew, and that compassion was overflowing. He could not stop till he could meet them and give them diksha. So this is the thing of a guru. If you take one step, the story is, if you take one step, they take 10 steps. We should have the, what they say, we should have the capacity, or we should be pure enough to receive it. See, when you go to a guru, if you go bare handed, right, you will receive with your hands. If you take a small cup, you will receive with a cup. It's like going to Ganga. How do how do you take the water of the Ganga? So if you go with your hands, you will take and you can sip with your hands. You take a small bottle, you can take with your bottle, maybe 1 liter bottle, 2 liter bottle. What is the way to experience Ganga, right? So Paramahamsa himself has told, say, the way to experience Ganga is to jump to the river, right? Don't put only your fingers, dip your fingers, your toes, your hands, and take a sip. Jump into the river. Means to drown. I won't say drown in the river, but like submerge yourself. Means surrender to the divine, right? So that is the first necessity needed for spiritual initiation. So if you are impure, impure is physical impurity also, and mental impurity. What is mental impurity? If you're constantly stressed and you're constantly hateful, you hate somebody, like Parashurama. He was not at peace with himself. He became peaceful only after destroying the 21 generations of Kshatriyas. So it was not a stable mind where he said, okay, now I can attain Brahma Vidya. Similarly, not that we have to destroy 21 generations, but if we are mentally unstable, if we are agitated, if our mind is very rajasic at all times, or we are in deep depression, at that time, we are, ourselves might not seek any spiritual help, right? If your mind is extreme, I'm not talking about ordinary thing, I'm talking about extreme agitation or mental instability. If you're suffering from some mental, very high levels of anxiety, you're having panic attacks, during a panic attack or during that time when you're going through these things, the last thing you'll think of is getting spiritual initiation. So one of the things is, to be suitable for initiation, first you have to be within the range. I will not say you have to be perfect. If we are perfect, then we will not seek uh, self-realization or initiation, spiritual initiation. We only seek diksha when we are going, a little bit on the edges, right? When we have some mental problems, physical problems, financial problems, relationship problems. This is understandable. But you have to be mentally, to an extent, mentally stable. A person who is not mentally stable is not suitable for spiritual realization. Person who has no bhakti. See, if you're not devoted to the path, then why enter the path? This path is not that this path, as soon as you enter, you will find happiness from first day. Anything you do in your life, you have to be dedicated to it to attain the final goal, right? So, suppose you want to make $1 million, you have to be dedicated to that passion. Like, I will make this $1 million. Suppose you're setting up a company, you're newly married, you have to work on the relationship. Just because you're married does not mean the relationship will work by itself, right? You have to work on it. You have a child, you have to take care of the child. So anything deserves bhakti and devotion. You have to be devoted to it in order to make it work. So if you don't have a sense of devotion, I'm not telling devotion to the guru also, I'm saying devotion to the path. If you have a sense of devotion towards the path, then you are suitable for diksha. See, then we have some people have malicious intent. See, people do courses or people go to ashrams and they go to ashrams only with malicious intent. There are so many cases where people go into the ashram just to find some scoop over there and write about it or put it on Instagram or hurt the ashrama, right? So if you're going with a malicious intent, forget the ashrama. What is it going to do to you? It might launch your career, or it might help you get some views on your YouTube videos or whatever it is, right? But if you're always going with a malicious intent, you will not find happiness, you will not find peace. So if you're a spiritual seeker, if you have malicious intent towards the guru, then, or if you are doubt, you're not, you don't believe in the guru, then don't go to the guru. If you have doubts about the guru, don't seek initiation. If you have any doubts about any of the gurus, please don't take initiation from such a guru. Only when your faith is strong. See, your faith should be strong, it should be strengthened, right? And the guru's words align with the teachings of the Shastras. Suppose a guru's words are contrary to the Shastras. See, they could be UG Krishnamurti, for example, would speak all kinds of blasphemous things about spiritual teachers and all that. He used to abuse even a lot of spiritual teachers, right? But even though he did those things, his core philosophy, his core teaching is pure Shuddha Advaita. It is. So his way of talking could be very wrong, or it could appear blasphemous, but the core teaching is in perfect alignment towards with the Shastras, with Advaita, Shuddha Advaita. He is pure Advaitin, right? So your guru's words should align with the Shastras. If they're not aligning with the Shastras, if people around him also you find like not in good faith, you find them to be negative people or something, then avoid such gurus. Only if you have faith in a guru, only if you feel this is the guru that this is somebody who has attained himself, I can find some spiritual benefit from there. Only then go. And it should align with the Shastras, it should align with the, let's say, whatever is written in the Upanishads. Because what are Upanishads? What are the Shastras? These are teachings of the people who have experienced the self for thousands of years. So whoever it is, whether it is Vishwamitra, whether it was Vasishtha, you come to the other Upanishads, you see Krishna's teachings, they are all aligning well with each other. Similarly, your guru's teachings doesn't have to be the repeat of the same thing, but the core philosophy is the same, or the core truth is always the same. So if the teachings of this guru is aligning with the teachings of the Upanishads, of the Vedas, of the Shastras, then you can, you can take a leap of faith to some degree. But you have to look at the other things also. But if there is no faith in your heart towards your guru, please don't seek initiation from such a guru, right? So there are two more things where the gurus themselves will not give initiation. The first reason why they will not give you initiation is because if you have another guru, right? Suppose you have another guru and you are going to another ones for initiation, for some other initiation. Suppose you have an Advaitin guru and you will go to another guru saying, I want a Tantra sadhana, initiate me into Kundalini or something like that, the Vamapada, right? So that guru, generally speaking, will not initiate. And also gurus generally will not initiate younger children, right? So if you have generally younger children, don't, nowadays when nobody is doing sadhana, nowadays even older children are not doing, or adults in themselves are not doing sadhana. But even in the olden days, if a child, before, see, Brahma Vidya was something everybody aspired for. Now everybody aspires to become an athlete, or I want to become a millionaire, or I want to start, have a startup, or I want to become a famous actor or singer, all these things. Those things are okay. I'm not against those things. But the aspiration of Brahma Vidya, where is that? The aspiration for self-realization in the popular culture, where is there? Where is it? It doesn't exist anymore. But back in the day, during the time of the Upanishads, these things existed. So even small children, see, initially what would happen? Every child in the house would go to school for 12 years, and they would live with the guru for 12 years. This is called brahmacharya, right? So once they attained a certain age, they would go and live with their guru for 12 years. This is called brahmacharya. And those 12 years, they'll not just learn Sanskrit grammar and all those things, not just learn the Shastras, but they would also learn about Brahma Vidya. This is what even everybody had used to do. Whether you're a king's, whether you're a prince or a regular Brahmana or any other, even if you're from poor family, that did not matter. 12 years of education from a Acharya, right? That had to happen, and you had to surrender, and they learned how to be a disciple. Today, people don't want to be a disciple, they want to become guru, right? So, you want to go from not having discipleship, you want to become guru. Nobody is interested in the state of the guru. See, the problem what's happening is there are so many people, if you see, when you search spiritual masters or whatever, there are, you will find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds who are all talking so many things because they are all interested in becoming a guru, because they think it is a good way to make money, or it is because they are interested in the status of a guru, not in the state. What is the state of a guru, right? Being as you are Brahman, right? And being absorbed in that Brahma Tattva. How many of these gurus you can say are absorbed in that Brahma Tattva, right? So they are interested in the status of the guru. But back in the day, whether it was Krishna had his guru Sandipani, what is Ghora Angirasa, Rama. Rama learnt with Vashishta, right? So any of these things, even for example, Dronacharya, all the Pandavas studied under Dronacharya. So they were all disciples of Dronacharya. They learned the martial arts with Dronacharya, but they're all disciples of Dronacharya. And nobody, generally speaking, nobody was refused. I will give you an example. There was a child called Jabala, and he wanted to learn about Brahma Vidya. He wanted to study Brahma Vidya, and there was a very famous guru called Haridrumata. So he went to Haridrumata and he said, I want to attain Brahma Vidya. Please initiate me. I want to become your disciple. He's a child, maybe 7, 8 years old. So Haridrumata, as per the norms, even today you can't just go to school and say, I want to get admission. They'll say, who are your parents? Please bring your father or your mother, right? So Haridrumata asked him, okay, but what is your lineage? Who's your father? Who is your mother? What is your lineage? What is your kula? Or what is your gotra? Right? Please find out and let me know. So this Jabala goes back to his mother, who is Jabali, whose name is Jabali. He goes back to the mother and says, my guru wants to know who my father is. Can you tell me who my father is? So Jabali says, I don't know. I don't know who the father is. So this is back in the day. He says, I don't know who the father is. Jabala comes back and tells Haridrumata, he tells his guru, I don't know who my father is. Again the guru sends forth. 3 times he sends forth. Every time Jabala goes back and asks his mother, who is my father? So the mother can lie. Second time she can say no, because she wants him to get admitted into this prestigious whatever institution, right? So all the ashramas were like institutions, they were educational institutions, but you also learned Brahma Vidya there. So again, second time same answer, third time also same answer. Jabali does not lie. Even Jabala, the son, also wants to get admitted, but he does not lie. Even at the risk of being rejected by his guru, Haridrumata, goes back and says, I don't know who my father is, my mother is Jabali. So Haridrumata is impressed. Third time, this was a test that he wanted him to pass. Because he gave more importance not to the lineage, who is your father, what is your thing, not that. He gave more importance to the truthfulness of this child. See, this child finally became famous as Satyakama Jabala. So he's very famous, and he has a Upanishad also named after him. It's called Jabala Upanishad, right? So this child became very famous. So it was not like the gurus would reject anybody just because they came from any families or anything. There are thousands of instances. Now people ask about Dronacharya, and people talk about Ekalavya. See, finally what happened? Ekalavya he was not a hunter and all those things. He was a prince. He was a prince of the Nishadas. So on television, we might have seen some versions which is not completely, based on facts. The fact was he was a Nishada prince, and Nishadas were opposed to the Pandavas. Sorry, the Kauravas that time. The Nishadas were against the thing. So, and Dronacharya was hired by the Kuru Vamsha to teach their princes. So he was not, he was teaching even Karna. Karna was part of that. The Pandavas, the Kauravas, he was teaching all of them. So he cannot teach martial arts to an opposing, armies, to an opposing kingdom's prince, right? So that was the reason he did not teach him. So, but though he did not teach Ekalavya, what did he do? See, this is the greatness of Ekalavya to an extent also. He accepted him as Guru. He accepted Dronacharya as his Guru and practiced the martial arts and attained a very high degree of martial arts. But finally, people say, no, Dronacharya never accepted him as his disciple. The fact is, Dronacharya accepted him as his disciple. Finally, he did both. See, one thing he had to do is safeguard the interests of his employer, that is the Kuru clan. He had to safeguard their interests. So their interest is he should never teach somebody else, but to enemy kings or enemy princes, he cannot teach. So he safeguarded his dharma was that. He was hired by this guy, he cannot cheat on that. At the same time, he did not want to reject the child. He did not want to reject Ekalavya. So though he asked for his right thumb, the story goes that Dronacharya asked for Ekalavya's thumb, took away the thumb, or that to the right hand thumb of Ekalavya. But what does that mean? Why did he ask for that? He asked it as Dakshina. Dakshina is the fees. Fees for what? Being the Guru. In those days, when the Brahmachari would finish 12 years of living with the Guru and learning all the scriptures, everything from the Guru, at the end of the 12 years, they would give a dakshina to the Guru and then leave. So accepting dakshina from Ekalavya meant that Dronacharya is his Guru. Got it? So finally, what did Ekalavya want? See, Ekalavya wanted to be Dronacharya's disciple. He got that. He made a sacrifice. He had to make a sacrifice. He had to give up his thumb. But he was Dronacharya's disciple. At the same time, what did Dronacharya want? He wanted to be faithful to the Kuru clan. And he was faithful. He became a guru to Ekalavya, but he was also faithful to the clan, to the Kuru Vamsha. So they say dharma is very subtle. It is hard to understand, it is hard to decipher. But when you open up the layers, when you go deeper, you can find, and it's always up for debate. There is no such thing as, okay, this is only the thing. Even Yudhishthira, who is called Dharmaraja, you can find faults if you want from his actions. Of course, many things can be faulted, right? So it is all up for debate. That is the beauty of our Sanatana Dharma. It is up for debate. You can debate about it. Nobody is telling only my way is the right way. So finally, what is Diksha? Now we'll come back to the point. And what is Diksha? Diksha is the end of suffering. See, Diksha means once you meet your Guru, it means your job is done. What job is done? More to a large extent, your self-realization is taken care of. You do not have to worry. Your realization is taken care of. All you have to do is whatever the Guru tells you, you follow it to the T. You follow it for as long as you live. Initiation, we generally understand it as Mantra Diksha or Sannyasa Diksha. These are the only two Dikshas we are aware of. Sannyasa Diksha is renunciation. A renunciate Guru. Only a renunciate Guru can make you renunciate. You cannot take Sannyasa Diksha from somebody who is a householder. Similarly, Mantra Diksha also has to be given by a Guru who has got Mantra Diksha from his Guru. Right? So even in now today Shankaracharya's lineage also, they say Sadashiva Samarambham. They say the lineage started with Sadashiva. So similarly, there are different types of Dikshas, but Diksha basically means you put your head in the mouth of the lion. Lion is the Guru, right? And you put your head into the mouth of the lion. Now the jaws are open. Anytime it can just collapse on you and completely destroy the head. Head is ego. So your ego is gone for good. You don't have to worry about it. Just do your sadhana. This is all initiation is finally. Right? Surrender to the Guru and your self-realization is guaranteed. Right? So there are many types of Dikshas. One of the basic diksha that everybody knows, one of the samskaras is called Upanayana. Upanayana is Yagnopavita. See, there is a sacred thread that the Hindus wear. And the sacred thread during the ceremony, Gayatri mantra is given to the disciple. So it is either given by the father. If father is not their grandfather, if grandfather is not their elder brother. So these three people are invested with the power to give initiation to the brother, to the individual, right? Either a brother, father, or grandfather. The first responsibility is for the father. If father does not give, then grandfather. If grandfather is also not there, then brother. These three people can give. If these three people are there, or they don't know, or they have not been invested with the sacred thread, then Purohita. So Purohita is Brahmana will come and give you. In this, the mantra diksha is given. Mantra diksha of what? Of Gayatri. Gayatri mantra is recited in the ear, whispered in the ear of this disciple, and he gets mantra diksha from this Purohita, and he starts practicing. Gayatri mantra is the gateway. Once you wear the sacred thread and you start practicing Gayatri, you start reciting Gayatri mantra, it is the gateway. So it is like a password for hidden knowledge. Whatever higher knowledge is there, you begin to access it. Even in my life, there are many, I was meditating for many years, but real progress happened on my spiritual path only after Upanayana. So if you all have children and you are interested that they should lead good lives or dharmic lives, it is good for them to be invested with the sacred thread Yagnopavita and do the Gayatri mantra initiation. Even for yourselves, if you have not yet been initiated into Gayatri, it is the best thing that you can do to yourself if you are interested to be on the spiritual path.
If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe, and thanks for watching. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.